This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura. You can visit Japan for the cherry blossoms, the bullet trains, the anime cafes, or you can join a doomsday cult led by a guy who thinks he's Jesus, Shiva, and a microwave rolled into one. Hi, I'm Bizarre, and today we're diving into some of the wildest, weirdest, and most dangerous cults to ever come out of Japan. No prior brainwashing necessary, but it might help. If you're new here, welcome. I talk about the strange, the spooky, and the stuff you don't want to Google before going to bed. So if that's your vibe, hit subscribe and stick around. Let's get into it. Let's start with the one that still haunts Japan's memory. Aum Shinrikyo. It means supreme truth, and it was founded in the late 1980s by a man who looked like he smelled like a patchouli and power. Shoko Asahara. He claimed to be the reincarnation of Christ, Buddha, Shiva, and just for fun, also clairvoyant and capable of levitation. Spoiler alert, it was just him hopping in place in a lotus position while holding his breath. And yet, it worked. Asahara pulled in thousands of followers, not just fringe weirdos, actual scientists, engineers, and university grads. People who gave up their jobs, their families, and their savings to follow a man who sold his own used bathwater as holy purification. Yeah, bathwater. Bottled. Almost reminds me of someone. But then things got darker. Much darker. In 1995, Aum crossed the line from cult to full-on terror organization. Members coordinated the release of sarin gas, a deadly nerve agent, on 5 Tokyo subway lines during the height of rush hour. 13 people died. Over 6,000 were injured. It was the worst domestic terror attack in Japan's modern history. One former member told The Guardian, "We believed Asahara was divine. I was prepared to kill or be killed for him." That's how deep it went. The group wasn't just playing dress up. They were stockpiling weapons, producing chemical agents, and running secret facilities. They even tried to acquire a Soviet-era military helicopter. This wasn't cosplay. This was cult-led paramilitary prep for the apocalypse. Asahara was eventually arrested, tried, and executed in 2018, along with several of his top lieutenants. But the cult? It's not entirely gone. It was rebranded. Today, its remnants exist under a new name, Aleph. They keep a lower profile, but they still operate offices in Japan. They're still legally allowed to function, though heavily monitored by the government. So, yeah, somewhere in Japan, right now, someone's probably sitting cross-legged in a basement, meditating next to a printout of Shoko Asahara, and wondering if enlightenment comes with a Kit Kat. From mass death to divine bathwater, Aum Shinrikyo is proof that the apocalyptic belief mixed with charisma and ego is a terrifying cocktail. But don't worry. Our next cult is a little less murdery and a lot more sci-fi channel original movie. If Aum Shinrikyo was the final boss of doomsday cults, this next one feels like the weird spin-off series that nobody asked for. Welcome to Happy Science. Founded in 1986 by Ryuho Akawa, Happy Science is what happens when Pastafarianism collides headfirst with Alex Jones. Akawa claimed to be the reincarnation of Buddha, could allegedly channel the spirits of historical figures, and at one point, he published books transcribing spiritual interviews with the ghost of Donald Trump in English. Yes, that was a real thing that happened. Happy Science presents itself as a religion, a self-help movement, and also a political party, film studio, and anime production house. They've released dozens of animated films, often with a spiritual message or loosely veiled political commentary, one of which features a protagonist defeating a satanic AI by channeling divine power through positive thinking and karate? They teach that the Earth is watched over by a galaxy-wide federation of gods, and that human spirits reincarnate across planets, dimensions, and historical eras. In short, if Scientology and Dragon Ball Z had a love child raised on VHS tapes of ancient aliens, you'd get Happy Science. One ex-member told Vice Japan, "He told us to avoid tap water, Korean restaurants, and watching the news. It all carried negative energy." Others described endless lectures, expensive seminar packages, and pressure to donate money for spiritual advancement. And while Happy Science hasn't committed any physical violence like Aum, it's still considered a cult by many experts. Its political wing, the Happiness Realization Party, has fielded candidates in Japanese elections, advocating for nationalist policies, military expansion, and straight up denial of certain historical events. Despite the wild theology and borderline sci-fi narrative, Happy Science still maintains massive headquarters, global branches, and thousands of devoted followers. Okawa passed away in 2023, but like any good cult leader, he didn't die. No, according to the group, he ascended. So now the teachings continue, guided by his son and senior disciples, and yes, the ghostly wisdom of Ronald Reagan and possibly Jesus again. They're keeping it vague. It's less about violence and more about indoctrination and control. And unlike Happy Science thrives in the spotlight. You can walk into their buildings today, buy their books, and if you're lucky, get a lecture from someone who's been reincarnated for the 14th time as an enlightened tax accountant from Venus. Almost sounds like a bad isekai. But hey, if that's what makes you happy, I guess. Okay, time for a snack break. And don't worry, this one's cult free. Let's see what awesome treats we have this month. Tokyo Treat delivers fun, exclusive monthly snack boxes. Think rare Kit Kat flavors, like matcha chocolate Kit Kats from June's Konbini Snackin' theme box. This box lets you experience Japan's most amazing convenience stores and is packed with Konbini treats and easy-to-eat treats. The Kit Kats and the mini melon pan biscuits were definitely some of my favorites in this box. But honestly, what's not to love? Sakuraco is more chilled, traditional sweets, regional treats, and calming teas from rural Japan. If Tokyo Treat is your present mic, then Sakuraco is your Aizawa sensei. It's like a quiet stroll through Kyoto, in edible form. This month's theme is Taste of Kyushu. Kyushu being Japan's southernmost main island and has long been a point of connection with the outside world. With 7 prefectures and a diverse landscape, you may uncover each prefecture's unique character this month through its culture, craftsmanship, and confectionery. My favorites in this box are the Nagasaki Honey Castella and the Kumamoto Watermelon Gummies, but paired with the Chiaran Rokucha, heavenly. Plus, the booklet includes allergy information just in case you should steer clear of a certain snack. If you love these kind of treats, or just want the chance to try different Japanese snacks and culture, I think you will really enjoy your own box. You can get one with my code below. It's like having a little piece of Japan at your doorstep. Trust me, it's the only monthly ritual I'll willingly commit to. Not all cults wear robes and chant prophecies. Some just hand you a shovel and smile. Enter the Yamagishi Society, founded in the 1950s as an agricultural utopia focused on collective living, self-sufficiency, and harmony with nature. I mean, sounds wholesome, right? Members give up all personal belongings, no salaries, no possessions, and definitely no privacy. Everything, from money to mealtime, is shared. You live where they tell you, work the jobs they assign, and speak in a very specific, approved way about the Yamagishi way. They don't tell you what to believe, they just ask that you empty yourself of ego, abandon individuality, and fully dedicate yourself to the collective. Which, doesn't sound creepy until you're being told to purify your selfishness in an 8-hour group session because you asked for a second serving of miso soup. One former member told Asahi Shimbun, "They said if I even had one selfish thought, I wasn't ready for Yamagishi." Another described it as being spiritually erased. The thing is, it's still active today. The Yamagishi Society operates multiple compounds in Japan, and even a few abroad, including Australia. Legally speaking, they're not a danger. They're registered as a non-profit agricultural organization, but former members often describe it as emotionally manipulative and psychologically exhausting. The group denies being a cult. They say outsiders just don't understand their values, which, is probably true, because most people value things like free will, personal identity, and, you know, choosing their own dinner. There are no reports of violence, no gas attacks, just the quiet, controlled hum of a community where everyone smiles the same, eats the same, and thinks the same. In the world of Japanese cults, Yamagishi is the whisper in the corner. It doesn't yell to be heard, it just waits for you to give up who you are. Voluntarily. You know, because of the implications. If Aum Shinrikyo was fire and Happy Science was sci fi, then Yamato no Miya is a fever dream of nationalism, divine heritage, and white robes. Also known as the Temple of Japan, this group believes that Japan is the true spiritual center of the world, and that it must be purified through elaborate rituals, chants, and spiritual warfare. Founded in the 1970s, the group positions itself as the guardian of Japan's lost essence. Followers wear ceremonial white robes and refer to themselves as divine soldiers. They believe that the modern world is corrupt, chaotic, and too westernized, and it's their job to spiritually reset the country. They perform purification ceremonies, often intense, repetitive rituals involving chants, fasts, and long periods of isolation meant to cleanse Japan's spiritual identity. Think less yoga retreat and more spiritual boot camp led by a guy who thinks he's receiving text messages from ancient gods. One active member told NHK, "We're not just praying, we are fighting a spiritual war. Our voices, our purity, they defend Japan from within." They believe in divine messages, some reportedly received through dreams or cosmic vibrations. Others are received from literal shrines interpreted by high ranking members who act as mouthpieces for deities. It's like if Google Translate had a setting for spiritual nationalism. The group isn't overtly violent, but there are strong undercurrents of political extremism. They often criticize the Japanese government for abandoning traditional values and call for a return to the emperor's divine authority, not symbolically, but spiritually. They've been largely ignored by the mainstream media in Japan, probably because they keep a low public profile and focus most of their recruitment through private channels, spiritual seminars, and invitation only gatherings. Their ceremonies are reportedly very strict, highly secretive, and completely off limits to outsiders. So, what do you get when you mix Shinto mysticism, political nostalgia, and a touch of divine cosplay? You get Yamato no Miya, a temple where nationalism isn't just a belief system, it's a divine mission. So far, we've had prophets, aliens, and spiritual soldiers. Let's end with something a little different. The East Asia anti-Japan armed front wasn't a cult in the traditional sense. No robes, no bathwater, no anime movies about Space Buddha, but ideologically, this group had all the intensity and detachment from reality that most cults dream of. Formed in the early 1970s, the group was driven by radical anti-imperialist ideology. Their core belief? That modern Japan was built on a foundation of war crimes, colonialism, and corporate greed. And the only way to fix it was to burn it down. Literally. The group targeted major Japanese corporations they believed had benefited from the suffering of Korean and Chinese people during World War II. Companies like Mitsubishi, Mitsui, and Nippon Steel. Between 1972 and 1975, they carried out 9 bombings, killing civilians and causing widespread panic. They published manifestos that read like historical essays written by a guy one Red Bull away from a meltdown. One excerpt read, "We must erase the Japanese nation-state from history. We fight not with hatred, but with righteous destruction." Not exactly subtle. Their attacks were precise. Most bombs were hidden in corporate offices, timed for maximum property damage, and occasionally paired with political statements mailed to the newspaper. It was violent, but it wasn't chaos. It was cold, calculated domestic terrorism. The group fractured after arrests in 1975. Its core members were captured and sentenced to life in prison, and no one talks about them now. No flashy documentaries, no religious spin, just a dark, buried chapter in Japan's post-war anxiety. A reminder that extremism doesn't always wear a robe or chant mantras. Sometimes it just builds a bomb and hits send. But hey, on a lighter note, at least they never claimed to be the reincarnation of George Washington, right? Japan's cult history isn't just strange, it's full of warnings about belief, about power, and about what happens when people trade critical thinking for cosmic promises. But don't worry, you made it through. No brainwashing, no chanting, just a deeper look at one of the weirdest corners of modern Japan. So, what did we learn today? Don't join cults, don't buy enlightenment, and if a man offers you spiritual salvation and it costs 20,000 yen a month, you should probably run. Japan is a beautiful, deeply spiritual, and endlessly fascinating place. But like anywhere else, it had its darker moments. And somehow, those moments still managed to be unhinged in very specific ways. Thanks again to Tokyo Treat and Sakura for sponsoring this madness. Links in the description. Go grab a box and enjoy Japan the safe way. No spiritual purification rituals required. If you like this dive into Japan's strangest cults, let me know in the comments. Was there one that creeped you out the most? Should I do a part 2? I read everything. Sometimes I regret that, but I do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Cue the outro.
He's bizarre. He's bizarre. He's bizarre. Bizarre steps to his mic to make his little sounds. The weebs jump up and cheer. Hit subscribe and stick around. ASMR most times with Minecraft on the side. Some modded games or Deku there to soothe you when you cry. Go ahead, close your eyes, kick back and put him on, and get even more bizarre through his Patreon. Need a friendly pal to get you through the night? Well, get headphones, take a listen, and maybe hit subscribe. He's bizarre.